I don't believe in miracles. And I certainly don't believe in coincidences. But I know how Instagram works. And I know that dead people don't get likes. Last night I just posted a new photo, nothing fancy, me on a rooftop, sunset, mug of coffee, background music in my headphones, waiting for Friday, style caption. 5 minutes, a couple of likes from coworkers, someone in the family. And then. Casey. KCL. Her name. Her avatar. Her like. I felt like I'd been electrocuted. My fingers went numb. I stared at the screen, blinking, hoping it was a glitch. But it wasn't a glitch. It was her account. Closed, with a lock. The same one that had been deleted a month after she disappeared. Or. I thought it had been deleted. For the first 10 seconds, I couldn't breathe. Then I went to the profile. Online, now. In the hat, still the same. Round pushpin, here to see, not to be seen. Casey went missing 2 years ago. Went out for a walk and never came back. No body. No note. No signal. Phones off, accounts are dead. I was the last person to see her. It was a Tuesday night. We were sitting in the kitchen, arguing about something stupid. She said, "I'm gonna go for a walk to cool off." I didn't even get up from the table. It was an ordinary argument, we had a lot of them back then. Because of work, because we were tired, because we both didn't know how to apologize. I remember closing the door behind her. I remember looking out the window as she walked down the path, wearing a gray hoodie, headphones, hair gathered. I thought she'd be back in half an hour. But she didn't come back. We searched. I searched. Every day, around every corner, with her friends, with her parents. I handed out flyers, sat in the station, begged the cops not to close the case. A year later, she was reported missing. After that, nothing but emptiness. And now the likes. I swiped my finger across the screen. It wasn't a fake. Checked it out. It's private, but it's active. Same number of followers, same avatar, an old black and white photo of Casey wearing mirrored glasses and only the sky reflected. The bio is the same. Nothing new, except for this one like from 2 minutes ago. I didn't know what to do. My heart was pounding like I was running. I went to our correspondences. The last message from her was 2 years ago. Coming soon, yellow heart. And here is a new reaction to that message. A fire emoji. 2 hours after liking it. It wasn't a bug. I wrote. Casey. Is that you? Please respond. Where are you? My finger was shaking when I sent it. It's been an hour. No answer. I was beginning to doubt myself. I wondered if I might have seen an old correspondence somewhere that my brain had passed off as new. I even checked the system time. It was fine. I went to Reddit, to the sections about digital footprints. I read the stories, there were fakes, there were hacks, there were spoofs, fake profiles, phantom likes. But no one described everything at once, reactions to a private message, a stories, a live profile. Around midnight, I finally tore myself away from the screen. I didn't sleep. I was just lying there, staring at the ceiling. It was dark outside the window. Something lo-fi was playing quietly in my headphones, but all I could hear was my pulse. And the silence, too dense, as if the world had frozen. The next morning, I picked up my phone again. There were no new messages. But on stories, there was a post. For a second. Maybe 2. A dark room. The silhouette of a book, a flickering light. And then a voice. Quiet, almost a whisper. You shouldn't have looked. I jumped up, dropping the mug. It shattered on the floor, and it took me a moment to realize I'd cut my finger. I knew her voice. I'd heard it hundreds of times, live, on the phone, in voiceovers. It was her. I spent the day on the phone. I tried to Google if there were any services that could track account activity. Found a couple semi-illegal resources where you can see geotags if posts were geolocated. Checked old photos. Last photo uploaded was 2 years ago. No trace of it. But now the profile is active again. So there's an entrance somewhere. I remembered that one of her friends, Nick, works in IT. He used to analyze data breaches. We hadn't spoken to him in over a year, but I took a chance. I texted him. "Hey, Nick. I need to find out who's currently sitting on Casey's profile. It's important." He replied almost immediately. "I thought you didn't want to hear about her anymore. I want to know if she's alive." He put in 3 dots. Then deleted them. Then put them in again. And then. I've been noticing strange things for a long time. A couple months ago, her number called me. On voicemail. No sound. Then it disappeared. I didn't know what was worse, the fact that he hadn't told me anything sooner or that Casey might have been around all along. That evening, I sat down at my computer and opened her profile again. Still the same status, online. Still the same stories. I wrote. "If you're not Casey, tell me. If you are Casey, tell me where you are. I just want to know you're alive. That's all. And this time, that's it. Just a period." She showed up in the chat room. Then it disappeared. Then back again. Don't write again. That was it. I saved the screenshot. There was a knock on the door. I turned around sharply. My heart froze. It was empty. There was a sheet of paper on the mat. On it was a handwritten line. "You're close. Just don't forget why you're looking." The next morning, I felt neither sleep nor hunger, only a haunting sensation as if someone was standing behind me all the time. I reread the message again. "You're close. Just don't forget why you're looking." A line handwritten on thin paper. The paper smelled like dust and lavender. Casey always dried lavender in her letterbox. I remembered that smell. It hit harder than the words. I dialed Nick. "This isn't a prank?" he asked in lieu of a greeting. "Are you sure it's not someone you know who's just joking?" A joke with a dead account's likes, Casey's voiceover stories, and a note under the door. I'm losing my voice. "No, Nick. It's not a prank. It's something else. I need her email. A login that was linked to Insta. Maybe we can run the activity through the backup IPs." I went through her old files. Found it. Sent it. Nick went into the shadows, immersed in his tools. I revisited the stories again. There was only one entry left, black screen, and the time was 2:17. I set my alarm for that number. I don't know why. Just a gut feeling. In the evening, Nick got back in touch. His voice on the phone was different, tense, collected. "I found something. From the last inputs, one IP keeps repeating. It's encrypted, but I've got a mask that tells me where it's from, Chapel Hill. It's a small neighborhood, south of downtown. Not residential, more like, archival. It used to be industrial buildings. And that's where her account was accessed from. Yeah. Regularly. Nights. Always between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Sometimes just logging in, sometimes stories. Profiles updated. It's not a bot. It's someone who knows what they're doing. I've stopped talking. Do you want to go there?" Nick suggested it. "Together." "No," I said. "I'd go alone first." I checked into a hotel on the outskirts of Chapel Hill. It was small, inexpensive, with a peeling sign and an old carpet in the hallway that rustled underfoot. Nearby were a couple grocery stores, a machine shop, and an old library, dilapidated, with boarded-up windows. Casey loved places like that. It smelled like leather binders and ink and dust. She used to take me there, show me the shelves, my favorite books. She said, "If I ever disappear, look for me where the words haven't finished." I didn't understand then. Now, I think I was starting to. The library was exactly as I remembered it. Inside, silence punctuated by the rustling of the wind and the faint light from the broken window. I walked around to the back. Found a crawlway between the boards. Climbed in. Dust stood in a column. The floor creaked. I walked along the shelves, lighting the way with my phone. And in the far corner, I found a box. Metal, rusty, but unlocked. Inside was a diary. Modern. Soft cover. Casey's handwriting. I knew it by heart. First page. If you're reading this, it means you haven't given up. My hands shook as I leafed through. The entries were fragments, short but powerful. I observe myself. Sometimes I don't recognize my face. He's watching. But only when I forget who I am. They said it's a game. But a game shouldn't involve pain. Trust no one. Not even him. Especially him. You're not supposed to remember. And I'm not supposed to be. Last page. He's watching me. If you're reading this, don't trust him. Even if he's in the mirror. I walked out of the library on woozy legs. It was already evening outside. People are rare shadows. There were almost no cars. There was a man standing outside the hotel. Just standing there. Looking at me. I squinted. No, it wasn't him. But, it reminded me of me in some ways. I went inside. Locked up. Checked the locks. Closed the curtains. My phone blinked, a new message from Casey. You're close by. But be careful. They want you to remember. Because then they can take you back. I froze. Who is they? What do you mean, back? Where am I now then? Scraps of conversations, voices, phrases she'd said to me in my past life, if what was there was my life at all, came to mind. I opened the journal again. There was something rustling between the pages. A note. Check the pictures. Not the ones you took. The ones where you're not you. I dug through the gallery on my phone. Found an old photo folder I didn't remember. Inside, dozens of pictures. All from Chapel Hill. All of me. One of me wearing glasses I never had. Another of me standing in front of a building I thought I'd never seen. The third is a photo taken from a window of me sitting on a bed in this same hotel. I can't explain how I felt in that moment. Something inside me snapped. It was as if I saw confirmation that I was not me. That I was the observed. Compiled from a memory someone wants to unpack. I dialed Nick. It's more than that, I said. It's not just an account. It's not just Casey. Do you want me to come over? He asked. Yes. But not alone. Bring something you can dig deeper with. VPNs, scanners, trackers. That's it. I'm on my way. Night brings dreams again. Casey in them. But not the same. Cold. Alien. She looked up at me from the shadows, and there was no joy in her eyes. You've come, just as they wanted you to. But you must choose to remember, or to be. I woke up at 2:17. Exactly as per the stories. There was whispering coming from the hallway. I walked to the door. I opened it. There's a new letter on the floor. Handwritten. Same handwriting. Next time, don't wake up. Just remember. Nick arrived in the morning. He had dark circles under his eyes, an old backpack full of equipment, and a habit of whispering even when no one was around. I haven't slept, he said, throwing his backpack on the bed. What you sent me. I don't know how to explain it. It's not a fake. He pulled out a laptop, plugged in an antenna and a couple of weird devices I didn't recognize. We're going to try to pull coordinates from the last activity, he explained. With any luck, we'll know where the messages were sent from. I stared at him, wondering if everything I was remembering wasn't true. While he fiddled, I opened the gallery on my phone again. Photos from the System_23 folder. One was of me in a bathrobe. Badge says Drive N, Parker. The other one's Casey. Also in a robe. She's smiling, holding my hand. The background is some kind of glass room. Not an office. Not a lab. More like a A medical center. That's not your picture, Nick said, looking over his shoulder. The metadata says it's from a camera, which you never had. Ever. I nodded. It was all coming to one thing. I was at that center. Casey was, too. But we'd forgotten. Or we were made to forget. The signal led us to the west side of Chapel Hill. A place listed on the map as, Closed Medical Unit N43. It was once a research center for cognitive neuroscience. Now it's a concrete ghost. The signs were obliterated, the windows were broken, the cells were askew. But the lock on the entrance was fresh. Nick picked it in 5 minutes. Don't say anything if you feel. He started, but I was already in. Inside, it smelled like chlorine and iron. The walls were white and peeling. The ceiling was stained. Every step echoed. We walked in silence until we came to a hallway with a sign that read NIRP, Neurointegrative Rehabilitation Program. You've been here, Nick said. I'm sure of it. I walked over to the console, dusty and knocked out. There were cracks in the screen. But underneath it, I found a box. Inside was a disk. On it, in marker. Session 14. Image, Parker. Nick quickly plugged in the laptop. Started the video. First, the noise. Then us. I'm sitting in a chair, cables over my head. Casey's next to me. She's crying. Talking. He doesn't want to leave. He chose to stay here. The other voice is male, cold. If he refuses, the personality structure will begin to break down. His consciousness will disintegrate between segments. I'm not going back. It's empty out there. This is where I feel. This is where it's real. Voice. You're sacrificing reality for simulation. Pause. I look at the camera. And I say. If ever I forget, have her bring me back. Casey reaches out to me. The video cuts off. I stepped out into the hallway. I was having trouble breathing. Nick was calling out something, but I couldn't hear anymore. I remembered everything. The experiment. We're volunteers. The idea is to implant a personality into an emotionally adaptive simulation to study the mechanisms of pain, loss, recovery. I'm the creator. Casey's the volunteer. But we fell in love. I stayed. This is not my life. It's a memory, recorded and replayed in a loop. But now the simulation is crumbling. Because someone, me, has begun to remember. That night, I saw her again. Casey was sitting in a chair. In the same room. In her robe. She was different, calm, clear. You're back, she said. I've been waiting. This isn't real, I whispered. We're not here. Of course we're not. But if you can feel it, doesn't that mean it's real to you? I sat down across from him. Why did you leave me footprints? Because you promised. You said yourself, if I forget, let her bring me back. And now what? I asked. She smiled. Now you have to choose. Stay, and forget again. Or leave, and remember everything. Me. The experiment. The loss. I closed my eyes. 2 worlds in front of me. One false, but with her. The other was real, but without her. I made a choice. I woke up in a cold room. A lamp above me. In the corner, a monitor with running lines. Nick was standing next to me. He's awake, he said to someone outside the door. I couldn't feel a body. Just, lightness. Freedom. The doctors came in. Someone smiled. Someone wrote down the data. You have been in a simulation state for 714 days, the doctor said. You chose to get out. Welcome back, Dr. Parker. I didn't say anything. Only when I was alone did I whisper. I'm sorry, Casey. 3 days later, I opened Instagram again. It was empty. The photo folder was gone. The diary, vaporized. But one thing remained. There's a new like on my page. From the user at remember_k.